Rick Mercer rant, take two.
Take two.
Here we go. Every once in a while you run into a problem and you think, this is gonna be an easy fix because it's not that big of a problem. We run into that all the time. As child and youth care professionals, one of the most prevalent things we run into are behavioral issues. And you think, this is an easy fix, but it's not. It's not an easy fix. And you wanna know why? Because behavioral issues always have an underlying reason why they exist.
They're not just bad kids like they're labeled. There's something going on for them and we need to figure out what that is.
Part of the problem with figuring out what that is there's no legislation or policy that guides that. Oh, wait a minute. Except for the American Association of Pediatricians, who's decided they're not going to advise pediatricians to diagnose sensory processing disorder. That's right. Sensory processing disorder is sometimes mislabeled, misrepresented, misunderstood. And because of that, we end up with kids who are on pharmaceuticals. Why is that bad?
Pharmaceuticals don't give the children coping strategies they need to be able to work through those problems. Pharmaceuticals don't allow the children to be properly diagnosed or don't receive any diagnosis at all, so they're not receiving proper treatment. So these behaviors just carry on through childhood and adolescence, and they're just labeled a bad kid their whole life who has behavioral difficulties, and that's really not the case.
They're not bad kids. They're kids who have a sensory processing deficiency of some kind. And when we get a diagnosis, then we're able to help them. So the thing is that we have something called the CRC. Yes, the Convention on the Rights of the Child. And
What?
Article 20.
You mean children have rights?
Children have rights. Shocking. The CRC, Article 24, states that children have the right to medical and health care. And that means that we should be able to solve this behavioral issue pretty quickly.
Wouldn't that mean that they get proper diagnosis and treatment then?
We would think that would mean they would get proper diagnosis and treatment. So the reason that we see this as a problem is because this label of bad kids follows them through adolescence, and really, they're not a bad kid. They're just a kid who needs a proper diagnosis so they can get proper treatment.
That's really all there is to it. Without proper treatment, they're not properly looked after or cared for, and they're just labeled bad kids and dismissed and left on their own. There's no one helping them or looking out for them. We need to change that.
We do. We need to change that. Let's get on it. As the Canadian Association of Pediatricians, or the Canadian Pediatric Society, that's what it is, we need to make sure that our kids get diagnosed properly. Let's not follow in the footsteps of the Americans. We don't want to do that. We want to be Canadian. We'll make the diagnosis and then we say sorry.